Let's now take a look at another debate that took place on the Daily Politics show with Jordan Peterson, Coburn and Ayesha Hazarika. Currently, a video of this discussion stands at about 15 million views, with the title "Jordan Peterson calmly dismantles feminism in front of two feminists." We start off with a brief summary of Jordan Peterson's position on Bill C-16.
Jordan Peterson has achieved that rare feat, becoming a global superstar academic. So how did he become so well known? He first came to national prominence in Canada in 2016 in a debate about new laws on gender identity. Bill C-16 made it an offence to refuse to call someone by their chosen gender pronoun. Jordan Peterson argued that this would infringe free speech, while some supporters of the bill said he was advocating prejudice.
Calling this argument minimalistic wouldn't really do it justice. We then segue into a question regarding how Jordan Peterson's positions might have been misrepresented.
Do you think, though, because of the heat that has been generated, that your views have been misrepresented at times?
This makes the guest feel comfortable, since he can express his views on the matter, but does not engage directly with his argument.
Oh, definitely, but that's part and parcel of the process. I did take a very forceful stance, let's say, against some of the excesses of the radical left-wingers.
The following question then is,
in your mind, it depends what you think a real woman is, but do you think a trans woman is a woman?
Although the question is infused with some rhetoric, we stumble into a clarification of Jordan Peterson's definition of woman.
No.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant. It doesn't necessarily mean that I don't think that people should be treated with respect and dignity if they happen not to fit easily into a gender category. That's a different issue.
This could possibly be useful to attack his argument in some way, even if, how it has been presented to us, it doesn't seem to rest on any specific fact regarding gender. Let's see where we go from here. You
don't think that a trans woman is a woman, and do you think that that is what is behind or explains your opposition to this idea of a law mandating you to use a preferred pronoun, is because you don't actually believe that that's the truth, that a trans woman is a woman and therefore you can't use that pronoun?
No.
This is an ad hominem fallacy of a circumstantial kind, on a position that hasn't even been fully formalised. Just because Jordan Peterson might want, for some personal reason, his argument to be right, it doesn't imply his argument is wrong. The topic is then abruptly changed.
Somebody asked you to use a particular pronoun, you would do so?
Well, I have.
You have?
Yes.
Right, fine.
Yes.
Let's talk about feminism.
What has transpired here is exemplary of a prototypical debate that can be seen so often on television or other mediums. The argument under consideration wasn't explained in detail, and no valid attacks were made. We are precipitously discussing a position that is not well defined. Some useful notions to have a meaningful debate might get tossed out, but are immediately wasted by some logical fallacy. And then the topic, all of a sudden, ends, leaving us, the audience, none the wiser to who was right or wrong, and also with no additional knowledge on the matter. The new topic is feminism.
Are you a feminist?
No, not as it's currently defined, certainly not.
No, well, in any other definition?
Well, I think that anybody who doesn't think that the competitive landscape should be opened up for equality of opportunity is not thinking. And so everyone's interests are better served if people have as equal access to opportunity to display their talents and to manifest their talents in the world as possible. So in that sense, certainly. But feminism now has primarily become an ideological weapon, and it's an ideology that I detest, actually, the ideology that it's associated with, collectivist ideology.
Again, we kind of accidentally infer Jordan Peterson's position on the matter. We have quite a bit to unpack. At least it seems clear that the conclusion of Jordan Peterson is that the current feminist movement is bad. We are now introduced to the other guest.
Ayesha, are you a feminist?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a very proud feminist.
And then we have this question.
You would like men to regain or reclaim their strength physically, mentally and morally. Is that broadly correct?
I would say morally, fundamentally, but I think the other things go along with that.
That leads us to discovering another view held by Jordan Peterson. Continuing from where we left off, we then enter into a tangent that finishes with a view of Ayesha Hazarika.
I think at the moment the discussion about feminism is very divisive, and sometimes it can sort of be like, okay, men have to lose and women have to gain. Actually, everybody has a lot to gain by greater equality. Now, whether you get the equality of outcome that you want, I think only time will tell. But certainly, equality of opportunity is very important. And actually,
we can agree on that.
And a lot of men would benefit from that. So I think a lot of men are having a lot of crises at the moment in terms of mental health, suicide issues, their own sense of identity, because I think some of the stereotypes put on men are quite limiting for them as well.
To which Jordan Peterson responds,
I'm an advocate of equality of opportunity, but
and
I think
outcomes.
the idea outcomes, that's an appalling doctrine.
Why?
finally, we dig a bit deeper. Why?
All right. Well, hang on.
Because you have to produce an unbelievably potent bureaucracy to make the ever greater and ever finer distinctions that are necessary to enforce equality of outcome. How many group differences are you going to equalize across?
We have managed to obtain a semblance of a complete argument. Jordan Peterson then tells us that the social constructivist claim that women differ from men only because of environment is under attack by some studies.
And I think you've spoken a lot about this. There's still a way to go in Scandinavia. Things are not perfect in Scandinavia
I haven't
at
spoken
all.
about that specifically. I've spoken about...
You spoke about the right stuff yesterday. You talked about the Scandinavia.
Well, I've spoken about the fact that, see, one of the things that's happened in the analysis of the differences between men and women is that the social constructionist claim is that the differences are socially constructed, right? Is that it's a consequence of environment that men and women differ. But what the scientific literature indicates is that as cultures become more egalitarian, like they have in Scandinavia, the differences between men and women actually increase rather than decreasing, which is a direct repost to the social constructionist views.
We end with this.
You said it's the moral guidance that you are focused on. You think that is particularly important. How do you square that with the behaviour of perhaps arguably, you know, a prominent alpha male president of the United States, Donald Trump, when his behaviour, I mean, he is accused of having an affair with a porn star when his wife was pregnant. How does that fit with morally reclaiming?
Well, I would say that was rather clearly immoral.
But you still would have voted for him over Hillary Clinton as an identity politics. I mean, it's just how
none
do
of that
you
was
win
on
the
the table, and I said I might have voted for him on a whim. That's all.
But you also did say you started out feeling quite close to Hillary Clinton.
Again, an attack not on the argument, that by the way we have never fleshed out, but on whether Jordan Peterson actually believes his own conclusions. The fact that he believes or not in his argument does not indicate if it is false or true. At best, it indicates if he is a hypocrite or not. So did Jordan Peterson dismantle feminism in this debate? No, he did not. He couldn't have. There was nothing to dismantle. No argument, no counter-argument, sloppy premises, and a disjointed discussion. Nobody dismantled anything. The debate was devoid of substance. It is in fact by design that most televised debates are structured like this, since laying down the premises of an argument and following rigorously the rules of logic is boring. It doesn't bring audience, it's not entertaining. Besides, it takes a long time to substantially debate an argument. For example, taking an actual good debate. Riley Rochon and Destiny discussed a single argument for 1 hour and 20 minutes. The time was needed to get to the essence of their disagreement. Certainly there's nothing wrong with entertainment, but if after watching this segment one goes home thinking something like, Jordan Peterson was so right, or Ayesha Hazarika won the debate, he is just confirming his previously held views. They never concretely debated their positions. One can appreciate the rhetoric, the views, the character of the individual speaking, but only extremely rarely if their argument, if they ever even state it entirely, is actually right or wrong. These types of debates shouldn't really be called debates. A better name for them would be survey of views, because that is what they are, a survey of views of different people flavoured with some engaging rhetoric. To be clear, by no means is the Daily Politics programme the biggest offender. The phenomena of the survey of views is pervasive in television and in society at all levels. Let's stop accepting this way of debating. It stifles progress and divides us in teams. Let's care about substance.